This week on Tampa Talk, the Lightning's very first game, a new law protecting renters from surprise flooding, drone deliveries landing in Ruskin. The Rays get a new owner. Florida rewrites the rules for mental health in the justice system. And East Tampa starts printing homes. Seriously.
It's pretty cool. Plus, traffic shifts on Kennedy, fall festivals, and what it means when cops can no longer search your car just because it smells like weed. Let's get into it.
What's up, Tampa? It's Friday, October 3rd, and this is Tampa Talk. I'm John.
And I'm Dahlia. Thanks for joining us for your weekly roundup of all things Tampa, local news, what's happening this weekend, and a quick peek into Tampa's past.
So let's start with this week in the work. I got some update news that I'm excited to share. So we've talked several episodes now, several weeks, about this effort to save the shop, and we've been raising money and trying to do that. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say we have not raised all the money that we needed, but as we went through, we've approached October, we realized we've taken over the lease basically as of right now. So for October, we've raised about half of what we need. So we're about 100,000 shy of where we need to go. So if you guys know anyone that can support or want to support, by the way, you can go to wellbuilt.city. There's a donate button. And under donate, there's an option to save the shop if you'd want to contribute, both to the effort that is the cost of operating and renting this space to reopen this kind of daytime drop-in center for the homeless place for people to get showers and laundry and a mailing address. But I'm super excited. October is going to be a real push. We're hoping to be open in November, early November, probably the first Tuesday, I think is like November 4th. I'll go ahead and put it out there. We're going to make it happen. We're going to get things done. We need furniture. We need to do deep clean, big work days over there. We have one of our partner churches coming in the first second Saturday of the month. But then on October, it's October, right?
Yeah, I was going to say
October
December.
18th and 25th are both work days. If you want to come out, those are Saturdays. If you want to come out and help, we'll be there 9 a.m. to 1. I'm sure some of us will be there later, but it seems reasonable to ask 9 a.m. to 1 if you want to come out and roll your sleeves up and help us get the place put together. If you got the hookup on any like nice furniture, particularly leather or vinyl or pleather, things that we can wipe down at the end of each day, or nice kind of bars or things like that. We're looking for some furniture for the space, hygiene products, all the things. But yeah. I'm just super excited. Like that's been huge. We've been pushing on it. But as of this week, we have an LLC that's taken it over. We've got the general liability policy. We've signed the document. We have the keys. We're in the space. I was over there with the team just a little bit ago, kind of making plans for the work days and the cleaning days and all the punch list of everything that needs to be done. So it's feels like a finish line.
Yeah.
Of kind of what we've been working on, but also a starting line of a lot of work to come. But super excited about this week in the work, and that'll be probably many more weeks.
I was going to say, it's a big week in the work, yeah.
It is. So we made it. And let's do this week in Tampa history, and we're going to go all the way back to October 7th, 1992. Tampa Bay Lightning played their very first NHL game.
The game was held at the Expo Hall on the Florida State Fairgrounds, so 10,000 seats, 7 miles east of downtown. And their opponent was the Chicago Blackhawks, the reigning conference champs at the time.
Most people expected a blowout against Tampa, but the Lightning shocked everyone, winning 7-3. Forward Chris Conto scored 4 goals, introducing Tampa fans to the term hat trick in a massive way.
Yeah, pretty cool. Is hat trick unique to hockey?
I believe so.
Oh, really? I never knew that. Mm-hmm. Tickets were cheap, around $22 on average, with some seats as low as $15. A sloppy game, lots of penalties, but a win that marked the start of something big for the Tampa Bay.
You know, I went to one of the preseason Lightning games just last week, and it's so fun. It's like so the one sport, you don't have to follow it. You're just like, bah, 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 bah. It's just like, this is awesome. And it's not hot in here. It's just like, it's the best. It's just fun. I
agree.
I was like, man, this is a great sport. So we mentioned in the intro that so smelling like weed is no longer a reason to be searched in your vehicle. So this is a big change for the Florida courts. But the police cannot just get it. You know, this used to be a big thing, like smells like weed, and you get out and they can go through all of your stuff. And let's say I know people, many people for whom this has been a thing that they've, you know, it's like forever. This has been the reason to get in your car, and sometimes even questionable if there was a smell. But like, this is no longer an excuse. It's no longer a probable cause.
The ruling reflects how the state law has changed with the legalization of medical marijuana and hemp. And so, yeah, like you said, the smell alone doesn't equal probable cause anymore.
So not everyone agrees on this. There was one judge that dissented, warning that it could hurt road safety, noting that cannabis hasn't been totally decriminalized, which is true. It's like medicinally legal, but not completely decriminalized, although it should be. This is one I'm like, it should be.
Yeah.
But I will also say, like, from both experience as well as like knowing folks, I'm like, man, from what I've seen in unbelievable difference from like people drinking and driving or things like that, or other narcotics and drugs like that. It's like people are just more I'm not saying you should smoke and drive, but like as far as road safety is concerned, I'm like, from what I've seen, people are like way more careful and cautious, but still you will be in a lot of trouble for driving under the influence. This has been something they've had to dial in with medical marijuana as well. Like,
I was going to say,
you can't be on under the influence of anything and be on the road, nor should you. So there are judges that are upset about this, but it has changed the rules as of right now. So this is no longer a rule to search.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of research come out of countries that are ahead of the game in terms of legalizing marijuana. Like even in Canada, they do a lot of research about one education about, okay, you think it's safer to drive on weed, here are some weed goggles, and like this is what it's like when this is how other people perceive you, right? Things like that, and then also instant weed tests, like basically trying to test like how we do for alcohol in the bloodstream, being able to test for weed in the bloodstream that's not like, because weed stays in your bloodstream for longer. They're trying to create tests that basically test for like, are you high right now versus like, did you get high in the last week?
Right, because it's like 30 days half-life or something like that.
So there is a lot of advancement happening because other countries already have legalized weed, and so they're trying to figure out like how do you then monitor driving under the influence.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, but people are ahead of the game in it is I guess my point. So Florida legalizing it is still like totally legalizing it is still down the line, and I'd imagine that will probably meet. There'll probably be a next crossroads of those two things meeting.
Yeah, totally. It's a long time coming.
Mm-hmm. Amazon just launched its Prime Air drone delivery service at the TPA-1 fulfillment center in Ruskin.
So if you live within 8 miles of that facility and you're in an eligible area, you can now get drone deliveries in under 60 minutes.
So drones deliver packages under 5 pounds, like baby food, cleaning supplies, small electronics, and more. And that's kind of wild that like we're here in the future and drones are delivering our things.
So I have thought about this for a while. We've probably even talked about this before, but I immediately, when I think about this, start thinking about pirate drones.
Pirate drones.
Piracy. Like, go get that drone. It has electronics. Like other people running drones to rob the Amazon drones. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is interesting. This is all interesting.
I think like the Jetsons. Like, I feel like the intro movie, like the intro scene to the Jetsons.
Yeah, it's like going to drop off. Like, here's your baby food.
Yeah, and that's what's happening.
Well, heads up if you are driving near Armenia Avenue and Willow Avenue, Kennedy Boulevard traffic is about to shift north for a long-term drainage and revamping project.
So fewer lanes, longer delays, and lots of construction between Woodland Avenue and Brevard. It'll last about 6 months, so plan ahead. I don't know. I feel like Kennedy has kind of always been a bit of a mess.
Yeah, they're replacing drainage system. They're updating sidewalks, installing new traffic signals at Habana, Fremont, and Oregon Avenue. So yeah, under construction. There's going to be some delays, and it's going to be for quite a good while now.
Mm-hmm. And then starting October 1st, Florida landlords are now required to disclose flood risk or history before renters sign a lease.
Yeah, it's not criminal, but if a landlord skips this and your unit floods, you're legally allowed to break the lease.
And this matters a lot in places like Tampa Bay. We saw this after Milton, and then it doesn't guarantee compensation, but hopefully can help tenants make more informed decisions going into leases.
You know, it's tricky because also landlords in many cases were breaking leases because if the unit, there was already some things in place. If your unit's unusable, you could get out of the lease, depending on how your lease is written. But also landlords that say, hey, we need to kick you out because of repairs. And so a lot of people, but also Bay Area Legal has been going crazy around some of these because not all landlords did that in a legal way, where they displaced maybe tenants they didn't want there and blamed the hurricane or flooding and things like that. Really complicated kind of thing. By the way, there was another, I don't think we shared the story this week, but October 1st there was a big update. If you are if you lease or rent, if you have commercial property that you're leasing out, there was like sales and use tax associated with the rental income. And you would charge that usually to the tenants. As of October 1st, Florida has done away with the sales and use tax for commercial rentals, which, anyway, it's kind of big news for people that are in that space, but update just so you know in case that is you.
Interesting.
How do you pronounce this?
So I actually am really excited about this story. Moaz Limayim, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. And that's because this was a very personable, he was the former dean of the USF's Muma College of Business. And he is currently the sole finalist to become the next president of USF. And the reason I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, even though I've probably said it before back in the day, was that he was a very personable person, and it had a huge presence at the college. And so I had a lot of respect for Dean Moaz when he was over the College of Business, and I'm very excited that he is being considered to be the president of the University of South Florida, and kind of learning more about what he looks to do in that role. But yeah, he was a fantastic dean of the college. Like I said, as a student, I knew him, and I knew the energy that he brought to the college, and I think he'd be a great.
So he was USF's business school dean.
Correct.
But then he went to UNF as president.
Correct. So then he moved to UNF as the president, and now I guess they're bringing him back in, which I'm not surprised because, like I said, he was a fantastic. Like, you don't really, as a student, even know who those people are sometimes or care. And I did care, and I did know. And he was present, and he was at the events, and he was always smiling, always had nice words to say. If you got the chance to speak to him, it felt like he was listening to you. Like, again, I don't know much of the whole operational side of it all. I enjoyed being at the college. I felt like I had a lot of scholarship opportunities and mentorship opportunities, and so all those things were under his direction. But I can tell you, just from like a personal level, he seemed like a really good guy. And so
quite the endorsement.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan, and it looks like the University of South Florida is too, because he's I guess the biggest contender.
Love it.
There's also a new law that prioritizes mental health over jail time. And so this is called the Tristan Murphy Act, which just went into effect in Florida, named after a young man who died by suicide in prison.
So the law mandates early mental health screening for people entering the justice system and expands diversion into treatment instead of jail. Good idea.
And it also boosts funding for 911 and EMT training to better handle mental health calls. So some great news.
Yeah, I wish I would have taken more time. I want to look into this, and if any of you guys know more about this, if you want to get in touch, I want to learn more about this because, working with folks that are on the streets, and actually I know a lot of, not even just like poor folks, but like middle class folks with really adult schizophrenic children that they're never going to not live in mom and dad's house, but it's like the devastatingly draining, both like emotionally, like to have someone that bad off, but also realizing like if people of means that are supporting them, and then like if you're in a poor family, you're gone, and there's so little available because we deinstitutionalized in the 80s. There's no there's no real mental health infrastructure, and so, and it's bad. But one of my best friends growing up is an adult with schizophrenic, lives with his parents who have the means to keep him there. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible situation. And the bad news is for families like that, or has been, like, the only way to get, if you're not rich to afford like private mental health care facilities, like rich, the only way is to go to prison. Yeah. You have to go commit a very serious crime so that you can get into the state mental kind of facilities. This isn't the same thing, but for them to say like, hey, look, a lot of what people are getting arrested around is actually mental health issues primarily. Yeah. And they've been doing this with youth in Florida for a long, long time. You're always going to go to a juvenile assessment center to make sure like you're being like everything's okay. Like, why are you getting in trouble? And then to say like, hey, we need to do these screenings and trainings around mental health for everyone getting arrested instead of just putting the reinstitutionalization of what was loony bin into just the can now, like, go into the jail.
Well, and it's also cyclical, right? Like, what happened first? Were you an 18-year-old kid who had a bit of a mental health issue, but then you went to prison and then you saw this terrible stuff and you got engaged all these...
How much of the drug use is self-medicating? Because that's exactly right.
Yeah, so being able to kind of filter for that sooner rather than later and be able to get people the help that they need, whether that's medication for a condition like, schizophrenia or bipolarism. A lot of these things present as we enter adulthood too.
That's right.
And so... that is another factor. It's like, yeah, you might not even know you're bipolar until you're 19, 20. And maybe that's the reason like self-medication has happened or you've got into trouble and you're in the system. And
for schizophrenia, that's always the case. It's like early 20s, you're going to start, especially with men, you're just like, you're not going to know. And then all of a sudden you're going to know. Yeah, it's going to be bad. And like, so in other news that we've been, what's going on with the Rays? What's going on with the Rays? What's going on with the Rays? A group led by Patrick Zalupski has officially purchased the Tampa Bay Rays and the Rowdies from former owner Stuart Sternberg.
So the price wasn't disclosed, even though I'd love to know, like how much is how much does a national sports team go for?
And did we just throw in the Rowdies? Was it like 2-for-1 deal?
Yeah,
like,
well, generally these owners own so many teams. Like the Glazers own Man U, I believe. They own Manchester United, and then the Bucks, obviously. And anyway, so a lot of times these big owners own multiple sports teams. And I always think about Ted Lasso when I think about owning a sports team because it's such a good show. But the price wasn't disclosed, but MLB owners did unanimously approve the sale, and Rays president Eric Neander is going to stay in his role.
So it's only the third ownership group in the team's history and could mean big things for the franchise's future in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, what will happen with the Rays? I feel like that's been the back and forth question. So Tampa is also breaking ground on the first ever 3D printed homes in our city. So the Community Development Center, CDC.
It's not Center Corporation, CDC, Community Development Corporation.
Yeah. Sorry, just to be clear, that it's not like the CDC, like the Center for Disease Control.
It gets so confused with Community Development Corporations and Disease Control.
But the CDC of Tampa just broke ground on 18 new homes in East Tampa, and 4 of them will be 3D printed.
So that's concrete homes designed for hurricane and flood resistance, energy efficiency, and affordability.
And so they've got a pipeline of 150 plus units in progress, including 24 townhomes on 43rd Street expected before the year's end. That's fast.
It's such a cool... It's just cool.
Super cool.
I want to see them.
Yeah. And just the last story to kind of round out our news and kind of segue into our upcoming events. Rude Awakening Farm, a partner of ours, was highlighted on Fox 13 just the past... on Wednesday for Wellness Wednesdays. So we shared the link to these segments. We were able to hear from Amanda and George, which are, friends of the well and the the co-founders over there. And they will be having an event on Saturday, October 4th from 10 to 2 p.m. at the farm on 110 East Hanlon Street. And so you can expect to see workshops, plant sales, and more. This is a fundraiser, but it's also a way to kind of just like see the farm and kind of what the work they've been going on there. Yeah,
say a little bit more about what Rude Awakening is for people that like haven't seen the news, or just we can share a little. I mean, we've been working so closely with them. Tell us about them.
So they're a recovery farm, and so what they're really doing is creating this space that allows for holistic wellness. And so everything from being able to practice yoga and meditation and other create tranquil spaces, as well as learning how to produce food through the in-ground growing that they're doing. They have raised beds. They've got kind of like some tropic forestry, regenerative forestry kind of happening. And they're really just trying to serve this like missing middle of care. So, a lot of the times people enter recovery programs, but when they leave those recovery programs, there's no place for them to land, right? They may not have the skills to move directly into the workforce, or they might have those skills but need just a place to find community. And that's what Rude Awakening Farm is really trying to be, is a place to find community, to have access to these opportunities. They're right there on the river, which I think is really cool in terms of the outdoor recreation opportunities that will be available. But beautiful really cool space. They've already built out like a yoga platform and a greenhouse, and Jessica's been working hard over there to get plants in the ground and row beds started. And I think this is going to be a really cool, like right on the heels of growing season and kind of like the next...
By the way, they've also they've installed like cold plunges and sauna.
Cold plunges, sauna,
just all these things for people to look take care of yourself and take care of yourself in community. It's a super cool place. both of them both those co-founders have been working in kind of addiction and recovery for a long, long time. And I think George, he was one of the founders of what's known as the Timothy Initiative, which you guys may have heard of, and they work really closely together still, but like has a real like thesis of what he called like work therapy. And I think like it's a beautiful place to like working in the land as like a therapeutic endeavor for recovery. And anyway, we're really excited about those guys. We'll both plan on being there on Saturday morning. And so we would love to see you there if you can make it out and maybe bring a few dollars to, buy a little something from one of their things or make a donation for a cold plunge or something like that.
For sure, yeah. Other events going on this weekend is the 19th annual Fall Fest fundraiser. This is happening over in Oldsmar with pony rides, hayrides, bound houses, farm animals, and more. It's taking place at Horsepower for Kids and Animal Sanctuary at 8005 Racetrack Road. It's going to be all throughout October on the weekends from 11 till 5. It's $15 per person plus $1 for parking. We also have Fall Y'all at Coachman Park over in Clearwater. More pumpkin contests and things going on for the fall season taking place Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. And this is a free event.
Yeah, I'm just going out to F y'all.
No.
Fall y'all.
And then Central Ybor's Fall Fest Pumpkin Patch will also be taking place. It's going to be a fall vendor market, seasonal vibes, and just, your usual Ybor energy on Saturday from 10:30 to 1:30 p.m. And it also is free with the first 50 guests getting a free pumpkin. And then finally, you can catch us out at the Ybor Street Community Garden from 8 to 10 a.m. Sorry, from 10 to 12 a.m. And then Harvest
12
Hope.
a.m. I'm not staying that long.
10 to 12 p.m.
10 to noon.
Yeah, 10 to noon. And then Harvest Hope from 10:30 to 11:30 sharing groceries. All right. Well, that's what we're talking about this week. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to comment, rate the show, and share with a friend.
And guys, also, we just want to remind you that TampaTalk.xyz will go directly to the link, which also has, it's the podcast and in video form, which is available on Spotify. TampaTalk.xyz will go directly to that. We typically put the links in the show notes there, but also you can go to wordonthestreets.xyz, where it's kind of in newsletter form. You can sign up for the newsletter. This will come into your email box every Friday morning. It'll have a link directly to the podcast in it. So 6 a.m., you get that email, you can get up and click it, and we can join you on your kind of commute to work. But I just want to remind you guys, please do go to tampa.xyz, wordonthestreets.xyz, and until next time,
y'all be good.
Y'all be good.